In 1960, Japan struck a quiet alliance with the US, while tripling its GDP and quietly building the world's most advanced robotics and semiconductor industry. Now a 1 trillion yen gamble on quantum computing and a new breed of military technology signal an ambition to shift the global balance. But does Japan's strategy really threaten to overtake the US, or is something deeper at work beneath the rivalry? The answer begins decades before headlines noticed. In the years following World War II, a handful of government officials and industry leaders in Tokyo began making choices that would shape Japan's future far beyond immediate recovery. The Ministry of International Trade and Industry, known as MITI, became the nerve center for rebuilding the nation's economy. Instead of leaving industrial growth to market forces alone, MITI coordinated investment, guided technology transfers, and prioritized sectors like steel, shipbuilding, and eventually electronics. This approach stood in sharp contrast to the American model, where competition and private capital drove innovation. By 1960, Japan formalized its security alliance with the United States. The security treaty between the United States and Japan guaranteed military protection, allowing Japanese planners to focus almost entirely on economic resurgence. Within 3 decades, Japan's gross domestic product multiplied tenfold. Factories that once produced textiles now turned out precision machinery and consumer electronics, feeding a global appetite for Japanese goods. Behind the scenes, MITI's policies steered companies toward exports and reinvestment in research, laying the groundwork for the country's later dominance in semiconductors and robotics. These early decisions were not just about catching up, they built a system where government and industry moved in sync. The legacy of this era is visible in the resilience of Japan's supply chains and the depth of its manufacturing expertise. By the time the world noticed Japan's technological edge, the foundation had already been set. The same structural strengths that powered the original economic miracle now underpin Japan's ambitions in advanced technology, energy, and defense, making today's revival possible. In August 2022, 8 of Japan's largest companies, Toyota, Sony, NTT, and SoftBank among them, launched Rapidus, a new semiconductor venture with a single goal: to restore Japan's place at the forefront of chipmaking. The project set its sights on producing 2-nanometer logic chips by 2027 at a facility in Chitose, Hokkaido, drawing on partnerships with IBM for technology and IMEC in Belgium for research support. By mid-2025, Rapidus had already unveiled its first 2-nanometer prototypes, built on 300mm wafers, and activated a pilot line, backed by over 1.7 trillion yen in public funding and private capital. The government's commitment runs deep, with a national pool of 10 trillion yen dedicated to semiconductors and AI through 2030. Japan's ambitions reach far beyond chips. The country supplies 30% of the world's semiconductor manufacturing equipment, a quiet but critical edge in the global supply chain. In robotics, Japanese firms command half the world market, their machines powering factories from Detroit to Shenzhen. These strengths are not isolated. They reinforce each other, fueling advances in AI, automation, and next-generation manufacturing. Quantum computing is the next frontier. Through the Moonshot program, Japan has pledged 1 trillion yen to quantum research, aiming to build a domestic ecosystem that rivals those in the United States and China. Quantum research is central to that goal. This coordinated push across chips, robotics, and quantum technologies signals a deliberate move to secure technological autonomy. Each initiative is designed to insulate Japan from global supply shocks and position its industries as indispensable to the world's most advanced economies. Japan's economic security agenda now operates through a network of legal mandates, fiscal stimulus, and targeted investment pools designed to shield critical industries from global shocks. The Economic Security Promotion Act of 2022 introduced new audit rules requiring companies in sectors like semiconductors, batteries, and rare earths to map their supply chains and identify vulnerabilities. This law gave ministries unprecedented authority to direct corporate behavior, ensuring that strategic resources remain accessible even during international crises. Fiscal policy reinforces these safeguards. In late 2025, the government approved a 21.3 trillion yen stimulus package, with funds earmarked for advanced manufacturing, energy resilience, and workforce automation. The Japan Hydrogen Fund, backed by hundreds of stakeholders, channels capital into hydrogen production and infrastructure, aiming to make Japan a global leader in clean energy technology. Meanwhile, a national pool of 10 trillion yen supports semiconductor and AI development through 2030, with agencies like MITI and NEDO steering resources toward both established giants and emerging startups. Demographic realities are also addressed head-on. With nearly 29% of the population over 65, Japan's Society 5.0 initiative accelerates automation in logistics, healthcare, and manufacturing, using AI and robotics to offset labor shortages. Each of these mechanisms, legal, fiscal, and technological, forms part of a deliberate toolkit, engineered to keep Japan's industrial and technological base resilient in an unpredictable world. Japan's relationship with the United States is defined by a complex blend of competition and cooperation. Over $550 billion in Japanese investment flows into the American economy, supporting factories, research centers, and jobs across dozens of states. At the same time, Japanese firms rely on access to United States markets and technology, creating a web of mutual dependency that shapes decisions on both sides of the Pacific. This interdependence is not just economic, it extends deep into security policy. Magashima Island, off Kagoshima Prefecture, is being developed as a joint training range for Japanese and American forces, with full operational use planned by 2027. By offering this access, Japan reinforces its role as an indispensable ally, anchoring the United States' presence in the Indo-Pacific while gaining leverage in alliance negotiations. The models behind each country's strategic strength differ sharply. In the United States, innovation is driven by venture capital and market competition, favoring rapid disruption and new entrants. Japan relies on coordinated industrial policy, with MITI, the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, guiding investment and long-term planning. This approach favors resilience, supply chain security, and incremental advancement rather than breakthrough risk-taking. Each system has its own strengths and vulnerabilities. American dynamism can outpace rivals, but sometimes leaves gaps in critical infrastructure, while Japan's methodical strategy builds reliability but must constantly adapt to demographic and global shifts. In this context, overtake does not mean one country eclipsing the other across every domain. Instead, it refers to Japan's ambition to match or surpass the United States' capabilities in targeted areas, semiconductors, robotics, and quantum technology, while shaping the rules and standards that define global leadership. The alliance itself becomes a platform for bargaining power, not duplication, as both countries use their complementary strengths to influence the direction of technology, security, and economic resilience. Japan's national security strategy underwent a fundamental rewrite in 2022. For the first time since the end of World War II, official doctrine authorized the use of counter-strike capabilities, opening the door to acquire weapons that can reach targets far beyond Japan's borders. This legal shift was not just words on paper. It triggered the largest defense spending increase in modern Japanese history. By fiscal year 2025, the defense budget reached 8.7 trillion yen, a 16% jump in a single year, with plans to approach 2% of GDP. Procurement followed swiftly. the Ministry of Defense placed orders for 500 long-range missiles, including Tomahawks for naval and land-based deployment. Behind these numbers is a coordinated effort. Ministries, industry, and the self-defense forces now work in tandem to match new doctrine with real capability. The Global Combat Air Program, a partnership with the UK and Italy, ties Japan's future air power directly to international co-development. Each step, from budget to hardware, reflects a deliberate move to align strategy with the tools needed for deterrence and defense. In June 2025, engineers from Japan's Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics Agency gathered aboard the experimental ship JS Asuka for a demonstration that would draw global attention. On the open sea, a 40mm electromagnetic railgun mounted on the ship's deck and powered by banks of capacitors fired a solid metal projectile at a target vessel moving across the horizon. Sensors recorded a muzzle velocity exceeding 2,500 meters per second, more than Mach 7. The projectile struck with enough force to rival the kinetic energy of a speeding car, all without explosives. This was not a laboratory test or a simulation. For the first time, a railgun had proven its ability to hit a moving target at sea, operating under real-world conditions. The system's barrel survived more than 200 rounds, each shot costing a fraction of traditional missile interceptors. While the engineers behind the trial remain out of the spotlight, their achievement signals a leap from theory to operational reality. The world's most advanced railgun is no longer just a concept. It is now part of Japan's arsenal. Japan's strategy is not about confrontation. It is about rewriting the rules of global influence. As semiconductor alliances and defense breakthroughs reshape the landscape, the world must watch how quiet innovation shifts power. The next era of leadership may not announce itself. It will simply arrive. Share your thoughts below.